Hey, YouTube, it's basically Black Jesus. Let's have a quick conversation here, all right? So, I wanted to talk about biblical reference, all right? And I know you guys, maybe you're not Bible thumpers or anything like that, and that's cool, right? You don't have to believe in the Bible or be Christian for this to be an interesting conversation. But I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Let's have a conversation. All right, so let's talk about the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is an allegory, okay? Human beings did not come from two people, all right? That's not where we originated from. It's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that, human beings have a process of development going all the way back in time, where at some point in the past, right, we were a descendant from, chimpanzees or some form of ape, right? So let's just put out the gate, whether you're religious or not, just set that to the side. Let's talk a little bit about this allegory, the Garden of Eden. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but the Garden of Eden did not start with Adam and Eve, okay? It started with Adam and Lilith, okay? So there's rabbinic text that you can look up, and if you look up Lilith, they will tell you that Lilith was Adam's first mate. He was the first one, she was the first one that was made for Adam. So unlike Eve, who was taken out of Adam's rib, right? Lilith had been made out of sand right next to Adam. Okay, so she was made as an equal to Adam, except a woman. All right, and they did not get along. She was single, she was independent, and she didn't need a man. She was a boss chick. Okay, she was made equal to Adam. And because she was non cooperative, disagreeable, she saw herself as an equal. She was not submissive to Adam. She was not helpful to Adam. She wanted to do her own thing. She was just a chick living in the garden, right? When they were supposed to be together and be in cooperation. And so Adam was like, God, you got to get this chick out of here, man. I can't deal with this broad, right? So Lilith was ousted from the garden. She was kicked out of the garden. And when she was kicked out of the garden, Eve, I'm sorry, Lilith, she made it with all the unborn things that were outside of the garden, right? Left out in the world, she made it with all the unborn things. And she eventually became Samiel's wife, which was basically Lucifer's wife. Okay, but her offspring became all the monsters that we talk about. So the story of all the, monsters, vampires, werewolves, and all of these, beings that are terror beings that, are here to terrorize human beings, those are the sons and the daughters of Lilith. Okay? So here's why this is so interesting, right? We look at our current society, right? And you got 80% of guys who are in jail, right, were raised by single mothers. You got 80% of the guys who have been institutionalized, like for mental health issues, raised by their mothers. You got over 70% of high school dropouts. You got over 80% of guys who grape women. You have, all of these different metrics, all the most negative metrics for social performance and criminal behavior, all of it. The the one thing all of these guys have in common is that they were most often raised by their mothers without the nuclear family. This is the line we can draw through all of those different types of behaviors that most often these types of bad men, right? The guys who feed on the fringe elements of society, the guys who are the victimizers, right? These men are the sons of Lilith, the single independent boss chick. And this has always been the case that since the beginning of time immemorial, we've been fighting against and locking up the sons of Lilith. The worst men were men who were raised without any masculine frame, were raised without the security, the stability of a nuclear family. Wow, right? So the Bible, right? This isn't even a biblical story, but it's it's an adjacent story to the Bible. This points to the son's daughter of Lilith. Okay, boom. So let's put that to the side. Let's talk about Eve. So you got to really think about Eve for a second, man. All right. Keep in mind, this is an allegory. These are allegories, okay? So God communicated directly with Adam. He did not communicate with Eve. God never spoke to Eve in the garden except to kick her ass out, right? So, what you guys have to understand is that Eve had to take Adam's word for it, that he was communicating the desires of God to her. She didn't have any proof, okay? And what her basic instruction was don't fuck with that tree. Don't mess with it. Don't mess with the tree, right? That tree right over there, that fruit off of that tree, leave that tree alone. Leave it alone. Don't deal with it. Don't touch it. None of that, okay? So, Eve, the nature of a woman is that chaos energy, right? That curiosity, right? And so this woman goes, she's tempted by the snake, right? She bites from the tree and she bites the fruit from the tree. She brings it to Adam. She tells him what it is. And now Adam's at a crossroad. He knows what he has been commanded to do by God. God told him, don't eat from this tree. Go forward, be fruitful, and multiply. Go forward means survive. Be fruitful means build the world, right? Run this garden that I gave you, right? And multiply means have some more kids, make more people, okay? And that's the basic. There were no 10 commandments at this point because there was nobody else to cheat on or steal from or anything like that. It was stay alive, run this garden, have some kids, and don't touch that tree. Those were the rules, okay? And so Eve comes and she presents him with option B, eat from the tree, right? So Adam, right, he goes and he eats from the tree. So what is the original sin? The original sin was to put Eve's desire, what Eve wanted, over the purpose you have been given in your life by God. The original sin was simping. Booyah! The original sin was simping. Bro, the original sin is simping. You cannot put the needs of a woman over your life's purpose. Now, when you get married and you choose a wife, your life's purpose is to protect, provide provision for that family. So the woman is part of your purpose. The woman is part of your purpose. Okay? But making her happy, the whims of a woman happy, over what your purpose is, takes you out of cooperation with God. It takes you out of cooperation with God. And here's why. And you'll see that guys who do this for women, women don't respect these men. They don't stay with them. They cheat on them. They leave them. They use them. Women don't want that. They push for it, but they're asking for something that they don't really understand and they don't want. And if you give it to them, they won't respect you for it. You need to stay on your purpose. If you stay on your purpose as a man, then you will always have women. You'll always have women because women, more than anything else, want to respect the man that they're with. If they don't respect you, then they're not going to stay with you. The relationship is not going to work. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about this dynamic really quick here. The woman, okay, in the Bible, Eve, okay, she gets Adam to simp and then they are out of cooperation. They are out of balance with their natural environment. The natural state of balance that creates the effect of prosperity, right? Which was in the garden. They didn't have to hunt for food. They didn't have they had abundance and prosperity. They were cut off from it, right? The man lost his access to prosperity and abundance because he lost focus on his purpose. And instead, he went chasing these women around. How many dudes do you know whose life has been messed up because they're sitting up chasing the attention of women? Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm telling you, bro, the Bible is the ultimate pimp hand, strong pimp hand book, right? Not because it's about trying to put women underneath men, but it's trying to have men put women in their proper place in terms of their importance in your life. Okay? And their importance in your life is that you need to build yourself first. You have to stay on your purpose, right? You have to be concentrated on accomplishing the things that you need to accomplish with your life. And let me tell you something, the baddest chick you're ever going to get in your life, the most cooperative, most beautiful woman you are ever going to get in your life, she wants the best version of you. You're going to get that woman as the best version of yourself. There's three things that make up state of balance for any human being, right? But I'm talking to men, but this is for women as well. But I'm talking to men. One is your intellect, two is your spirit, and three is your body. Okay? So taking care of your body is about diet, it's about strength, it's about flexibility. Diet is your long-term health, right? My Kung Fu Shifu, shout out to the OG Misan. He says either you're eating the sickness or you're eating the cure. So diet, that's one thing. And we can talk about all of these things. I'm going to do series on diet, on proper exercise and flexibility, and on all of these things, okay? Then strength. You have to be able to move the machine that is you, right? You have to be able to defend yourself. This is an important thing because I'm going to tell you guys something. You are responsible for your own safety. You are responsible for your own happiness. And men, you are responsible for covering the expense of the life you make. Nobody else. Not the government, not a woman, not your parents, nobody. You are responsible for covering the expense of your own life. You are responsible for your own safety, not the police, not the government. That's why the Second Amendment is important. Okay? You're responsible for your own safety. And you are responsible for your own peace and happiness. Your peace of mind, your happiness is no one else's responsibility. And if you take full responsibility for that, if you take on the responsibility of those three things, you will have created the space to experience peace and balance in your heart and mind. Believe me. Trust me. Okay? So, intellect is about learning. It's about your ability to learn. It's about learning how you learn. It's about engaging with your mind and being able to develop a strong intellect that you can critically evaluate new ideas. You have a logical understanding of your own reality, your own thoughts, so that you can not only evaluate if something is good for you to do, but also be able to convey your own thoughts and opinions, right? So there's intellect. It's a relationship between the student and the teacher. The student is you, the teacher is you. When you're in school, you're just learning how to learn, okay? You're learning how to read, how to write. You're learning arithmetic, basic mathematics, right? You're learning how to learn. But the reason you're learning how to learn is because it is your responsibility to teach yourself the things you need to know. That is why you are the teacher. You ever heard that saying, when a student is ready, the master appears? You're the master. You're your own master. You're the person who's responsible for teaching yourself the things you're going to need to know to live a fulfilling life, cover the expense of yourself, protect yourself, and find some happiness. Okay? So that's the intellect part. Spiritual part. Spiritual part is about your emotional self. Spiritual part is about the relationship you have with the being that you are. Your spiritual self is about your understanding of your own purpose. Your spiritual self is about your motivation and how it is that you create and practice your own disciplines. Okay? Because the surest way to improve the quality of a human life is through self-imposed discipline. You have to impose discipline upon yourself to accomplish your long-term goals. Okay? That saying right there, the surest way to improve the quality of a human life is through self-imposed discipline. Shout out to Noon S. Amin Ra, if you guys ever want to look that brother up. He's a bad dude. All right? So that's number two. Okay? That's number two. Your spiritual self, right? And I'm going to say this too. The only true spiritual practices that I know of, you can gain spiritual information by reading, text and books and stuff like that. Okay? You can do that. However, the only two true spiritual practices there are meditation and fasting. If you do not know how to meditate, then you do not have the skill to investigate and cultivate the space of your own mind. Every man, every woman needs to learn how to sit in silence, understand the basic components of their own consciousness, and learn how to deal with that. Okay? And that you do through meditation. And then fasting. Fasting is very important. Fasting is how you sharpen your will. These are all conversations we'll have at a later date. All right. So now we got spiritual self and then your physical self. And your physical self, again, as I said, is flexibility, strength, right? And diet, right? What you eat, building your body so that it's strong and then maintain enough flexibility so that your body lasts. Okay? So these three things are the things that make up being a person who has the space to have some peace and force and power in your own life, right? And this sets the stage of your ability to have control and have some dominion and some authority in your own life. And I'm going to tell you something. If you focus on developing these things, men, okay, then you will attract the very best, most healthiest version of the woman that you're going to get. You're going to get the best woman you can get, and you're going to get the best version of her. But if you don't have a spiritual practice, if you don't have an intellectual practice, if you don't have a physical practice for maintaining yourself, then you will not be able to get a woman who is going to get on your program, a woman who is going to gift you with submission and allow you to have authority in the life that you guys build with one another. Because if you don't have shit to teach, then there's no reason she should learn from you. Okay? So you have to be a man of character, right? And you have to cultivate some things about yourself. And I'm going to tell you something. All the stuff that you need to do to become the man that you need to be is free. It's all that shit I just named. All three of those things. Those things are free, right? Obviously, you have to go out into the world and prove that you have some mastery over these things. And you do that by showing consistency and competence and thereby creating results for yourself. Okay? But that's another conversation as well, right? My point to you is these two different female archetypes. Lilith, right? The single independent woman who sees herself as an equal to man, right? Where her offspring are all the people that we're constantly locking up, right? And then Eve, right? The curious, chaotic version, the woman who is curious and chaotic. We can see these women everywhere, everywhere. The women who are out booty shaking, who are trying to get you to get off your purpose and get onto them, right? And these two different archetypes of women can't deal with either one of them. You can't. You need a woman who has virtue. And a woman who has virtue is a woman who has done three things, right? Modesty, chastity, temperament. Modesty are the rules that she has for how she presents herself to the world. Women who sexualize themselves to the world to try to get validation and gratification, attention, right? Can't deal with them. Not for marriage, not for long-term meaningful relationships. Sex, I mean, you're rolling the dice there and you get what you take what you get, right? But you can't impregnate these women, can't have children with these women, you can't have long-term meaningful relationship with these women, you can't give them a title in your life, you cannot marry them. No, not women who are seeking to sexualize themselves, thereby getting validation, gratification. Can't do it. Can't do it. Okay, so um, the second thing is chastity. Chastity are the rules a woman has about gaining access to her body. If a woman has no chastity, then that means she has no rules about, who gets access to her body. It's all a vibe. Women that you talk about, oh, it's a vibe, it's a feeling. Oh, he had swag. Oh, this, that, all this bullshit, this vaporous, nebulous garbage. Okay, you can't deal with them. Women who have no chastity, you can't deal with them. I'm sorry, fellas, you can't. You can have sex with them, but if you do, you're rolling dice again, and you get what comes with your outcome. And no one feels sorry for you when you're sitting up slaying some chick that's got an OnlyFans or is juggling 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dudes because she's fast life and all of that stuff. Nobody feels sorry for you when you impregnate her and she weaponizes the children, the family court system, or the legal system against you, or public opinion, or all of the things that women who are in this gynocracy we live in are given victim status no matter what. Nobody feels sorry for you when you find yourself in a pickle with that type of woman. Okay? So, and then the last thing is temperament. Temperament is very, 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 very important. Temperament is about what a woman perceives her place to be around a man. Does she think that it's okay if she enters a state of conflict to argue with that man, to disrespect that man? Because we're in a state of conflict, you no longer have to respect me, right? No, 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 no. That is not what it is that you should accept. So women who have bad temperament, who cannot communicate in a state of conflict or in a state of frustration, those women, you cannot deal with them. You cannot. So with all of that being said, we talked about two different female archetypes. That's my dog in the background. We talked about two different female archetypes. We talked about uh, what you need to do, the three things that you need to focus on as a man to develop the space for peace and to have some autonomy, thereby giving you the right to have authority in the life of a woman who might submit to you, right? These are all the things that we've gone over. And this, we also talked about the three different things that give a woman virtue: chastity, modesty, and temperament. Okay. So this was a good conversation, in my opinion. All of this stuff, the basis of the conversation we just had was biblical, right? But it's not just biblical. Okay. You have to accept that the guys who have figured out the sage information of the ages have translated this into the primary religious text of the most dominant religions on the planet. We could go through the Quran and find this information. We can go through the Bible and find this information. We could go through the Japji Sahib, the Granth Guru Sahib. We could go through the Dhammapada, the Bhagavad Gita, and find this information in all of those texts as well. So whatever your faith is, hey, all are welcome here, right? But I typically use biblical text for most of the information that I disperse. But that's not because the Bible has a monopoly on spiritual information pertaining to principles, morals, and values. Okay, so I appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. We're going to have more of these conversations. I'm going to create more content like this so that we can kind of have more of these conversations. You should go back through the stuff that I said with a pen and paper, so that you can take down those three pieces to the different things that I talked about. And then, like I said, we're going to flesh some of the stuff out. I don't know if I'm going to do diagrams and things like that because I do have a lot of this stuff written out. But I want to try to share this information with you all and have you guys test it, push back against it, tell me where you think I'm wrong or where you think I'm missing the boat or if you think there's something that I should add. But I'm a 41-year-old man at this point. All right. And I've experienced, some moderate success in my life, right? Where I've been able to, earn some money and I had a stay-at-home wife and all these different things. So the stuff most of you guys are talking about trying to accomplish, I've been able to accomplish those things, touch those spaces, exist within those spaces. And I didn't do it by accident, and I didn't do it by just blindly working hard. I had to develop a system for myself, and I followed that system, and I'll share it with you all and you can use it, pieces of it, parts of it, all of it. It's up to you, right? But I am going to make it available to all of you guys so that we can have more in-depth conversations and get better outcomes and results as men, which will benefit the world, right? When we get better, the surest way to improve the quality of your life is through self-imposed discipline. It's not something somebody else is going to do for you, right? You're going to do it for yourself, right? And I can give you some tips on how to do it. All right. Have a great day. Peace.